Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today we have a special guest who's actually my chiro, Dr. Ryan Gleeson. Hey man, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, thanks for having us, Bernie. So my name's Dr. Ryan. I'm, as Bernie said, he's a chiropractor. I've been with Bernie for a couple of years. I've been chiro for over 10 years. Got Gorilla Chiropractic just in South Perth. So that's pretty much what I do work-wise. Into massive dog lover in fitness, jiu-jitsu, all these sort of things, and really sort of branching into a few different areas which we'll go through into later in the podcast. Other than just chiropractic, but yeah, no, thanks for having us, man.
No worries at all, man. It's good to finally get you on this show. So I want to cover your hobbies in regards to fitness. What do you do to keep fit?
Well, pre-ISO life, I have a bit of a different routine than what I've got now. But yeah, generally I do a mixture of few different things. I do CrossFit down at CrossFit Dignus with Costa Illich. I do that a couple of days a week, just for a bit of strength and conditioning work. I do jiu-jitsu for about 3 times a week down at Perth Martial Arts Centre, and I'm all competing in that. I mean, that's going to be on hold probably for the next 6 months, no doubt. Probably even training, that's going to be put on hold for a while. But yeah, normally we still do that, and probably just do regular weights about 3 times a week as well. So so I've got a fairly broad, diverse range of stuff we do. That's probably what I've been doing for a few years now. But in ISO life, it's a bit different. We're just doing a bit of home weights and got a little gym setup. I think you probably maybe see behind me, but so things have changed. But that's pretty much what I do on the regular, not in the normal instance.
Nice, man. And you mentioned that you compete at a relatively high level with jiu-jitsu. Do you want to just touch on that and where you've competed?
Yeah. Oh, look, it's moderate level. No, it's okay, but not as good as where my coach is. But so look, I've done comps and one state comps and gone over east and done well in comps over the last few years. I've been training jits for about 6-7 years under Will Diaz and Paulo Diaz. So, and there, I mean, Will's top is best mate as well, so he's like top black belt in Australia, so it's handy having him. We've competed in Brazil in the Brazil Nationals, which is good fun, about 3-4 years ago, which is awesome to have that. It's that sport, you have that opportunity to be able to compete internationally. Also competed in Russia at the Worlds, that was about 2 years ago. And looking forward to, I wouldn't mind, Vegas is probably the next one. There's the Worlds in Vegas, but that's probably, I doubt it'll be available by August this year, but yeah, that's probably the next one for next year. But yeah, I've done about 3 international ones and a heap in Perth and a couple in Sydney, that sort of thing. But no, it's awesome having that opportunity to be able to travel and compete.
Nice, man. So you've been doing that for years. So I want to ask, how did you get into chiro? What inspired you to become chiro?
Yeah, well, in terms of when I was probably younger, it's funny. Even when I was 15, I went and did work experience with the chiro. So, but even back then, I sort of thought that was, the path I was going to go. As to whether I was going to do physio or chiro, it was just, luck of the draw at that stage. A 15-year-old doesn't really know, hugely what the difference is. But look, I was always an achiever in sport. Always liked human ball. Pretty much sucked at everything else. So it was almost by default. I thought, I was never going to do anything like engineering or anything like, chemistry, physics, English, that sort of stuff. So I was always into human bio, and I sort of just naturally gravitated that way. And even then it probably took me years because I was always just playing sport and mucking around as a youngster. It still took me quite a few years actually. I did human movement first I did health science and then finished human movement degree. Then I went to chiro for 6 years. So I ended up doing 9 years all up. So yeah, by the time I finished, I just went, no, screw this. I'm just going to open my own practice straight out of uni. Wasted enough time. And 10 years later, here we are.
Wow, amazing. So how old were you when you first opened up that practice?
I was 25 or 26. 26? Yeah, 26.
Nice. And what was the name of the practice?
Back then, it was called, originally I called it Como Chiropractic because it was named after the suburb. I changed the name about 6 months later to Verve Chiropractic, and we kept it like that for about 6.5 years, and then we sort of rebranded that 3 years ago to Gorilla Chiro.
Nice.
And just changing demographics and that sort of thing. Yeah, and now we're a bit more. And I mean, the demographic of clients we've seen, even though most people have been like, health, fitness based over the years, it has, like, since I've been Gorilla in the last 3 years, probably a bit more of a different market, a lot more probably blue collar, a lot more FIFO workers and that sort of demographic in conjunction with, people into sport and fitness and that sort of stuff. Yeah, which is a little bit different to previously. But yeah, you sort of, with age, you do sort of change with your demographics. But no, we're pretty happy with the sort of the clientele that we're sort of working with and getting good results with at the moment.
It's great to hear, man. And you mentioned that you've always been pretty physically active in regards to playing sports, and you've obviously studied a very long time to become a chiro, and that takes a certain mindset. So do you want to elaborate on what sort of mindset you have in order to kind of succeed in these sort of areas?
Yeah, look, I think whether you're, whether it's sport or business or anything like that, it's a very similar mentality. That's what I think a lot of people who do well in competition because I originally started playing tennis when I was at state level when I was about 9. That was my sort of like 9 till 15, 16. Then went to sort of pretty decent level, sort of rugby with school, and I've always been reasonable level, whatever sport I played. But particularly as individual sports, as being a youngster playing at state level, everything's on you. It's all about work ethic, hard work. And if you lose, it's because of you. If you win, it's because of the work you do. And I've took that on, particularly with business and that. You've got to have that sort of resilient sort of mindset. And I think resilience with a bit of a blend of like optimism and positivity as well is almost what you need for just continually looking to get better, all the time, and not getting too head in the clouds with your victories and not getting too defeated, when things go to shit as well, because things will, have your good times and things will go to shit. So, you just got to just keep a fairly neutral but optimistic sort of mindset with it all. And I've always been pretty resilient. That's probably like one of the core values, probably the core value my old man sort of put in us was resilience, work ethic. So like we don't, if shit hits the fan, I've had that obviously a few times in my life, you just deal with it, and you just think, rather than dwelling on it, you just sort of think, how am I going to get my way out of here? And that could be, in sport, like I do jiu-jitsu now, you got a big shit scenario and, things aren't going well, you can't just sort of panic. You just got to think, how are you going to calmly work your way through it? And like business at the moment, or, a lot of people will be going through that at the moment where they've just got to, shit would be going sideways for them. And even people who aren't in business, shit can be going sideways. And it's just about, you might have your little moment of freaking out, but then just try and think clearly, how am I going to pivot? How am I going to navigate my way through here? What skills do I need to develop? And having pretty good self-awareness of, who you are and what you should be doing, and not just blindly just going along. I think, if you develop resilience and you can sort of, think of positivity and optimism and actually constructively work towards something, I think that's like the best, rather than just hope, like actually, working towards having a goal that you continually sort of working towards. And I think if you're optimistic, it makes it, it's always possible outcome. So I think they're probably like the values I've always had, and that's what's probably stood me in pretty good light over the years.
Oh, awesome, man. That's like your recipe to your sauce kind of thing.
What about yourself? What are your sort of core values with that?
In regards to mindset?
Yeah.
So I come from a similar background in regards to being an athlete. So I've played soccer all my life. From the age of 5, I played at state levels here in Perth, and then I went over to the US to play in college. And that was a massive turning point for me in regards to my mindset. I thought I was working hard here in Perth, but when you go over to the States and you're playing against players that, are from around the world, like Brazil, England, like Latin America, like everywhere really, it opens your eyes up and you're like, man, like these guys are animals and they train every day. And it's just like here in Australia, it's like everything's so slow paced, so like laid back. And then I was always like, I was living with the whole team in this big room, in this big house. And just being surrounded by these people that were just obsessed with football, it was like a light bulb moment where I was like, okay, cool. Like their mindset behind the sport that they're devoting their life to is like, they think about it obsessively. It's like every day we train. I remember preseason, we were training 3 times a day for 2 weeks. And that was just like a massive shock to the system. So instilling hard work and understanding like purpose, why we do things, there was always that one common goal as a team that we kind of work towards. And then having that, purpose, hard work, and self-awareness, I think those are the 3 main things for myself that have led me to succeeding with sport or business or any other aspect of my life.
Yeah.
So
100%. Definitely agree with that. Yeah, it's amazing. There's just levels to it. And I think when you're in a small little fishbowl, it's it's easy to be the fish in the little pond. But yeah, as soon as you do surround yourself, and that's why it's so important, surround yourself by those people that, if you don't ever be the smartest in the room, you always want to have, you always want to be the dumbest in the room, but you're surrounded by people that are so much better than you, and you sort of see, the habits they're doing, the mindset they have. It just, you can't help but sort of elevate. Yeah, so I imagine in those 2 weeks you probably would have improved more in those 2 weeks than what you would have in 6 months normally.
100%.
Yeah. And they're doing it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just natural to them. Like I remember going there, I was like probably one of the most unfit athletes there. But then the first year, I became like the fittest I've ever been in my life. Training every day and then just breaking things down on like a knowledge-based level where it's like understanding strategies. And that was the first time I actually, we watched film, like tape from other, like our games. And then our coach would actually break down like specific patterns of play and things like that. And I was like, in my head, we never got taught this here in Australia. So it's just like, this is kind of like a next level thing where you're actually breaking down and reviewing your performances and then taking that and lessons learned and implementing them into the next game, next training. So that was a massive thing.
That's awesome.
Like this kind of thing leads me on to the next question for you in regards to your business. I know the whole COVID-19 is really putting a damp on like a lot of businesses nowadays, especially in, the health industry, depending on where you are. But I just want to know, what have you done in order to pivot and I guess push through these challenging times?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a very good question because we're, I think, what I would call the end of week 3 of like a semi-lockdown, I think, in Perth, which I'm still fortunate that I can work, which I didn't think 3 weeks ago at this point in time I'd be able to, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, definitely, we didn't even notice anything, to be honest, until about 3 weeks ago. Even like this whole COVID-19 thing's been probably happening for a good, in Perth, 5 weeks, 6 weeks sort of thing. It peaked probably 2.5 weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, even like a lot of businesses were getting hit hard 6 weeks ago by it, and I was surprised. Even I didn't even feel the effect of it. And then as soon as they closed the gyms down that Sunday, the next day, bang, we definitely that week you could just definitely feel the fear of, I mean, we felt a bit of fear from some of the clients, definitely. But and I thought, I mean, in 10 years of doing it, it's like, holy shit, this is getting pretty real, and it was happening pretty thick and fast for the first few weeks. And and it sort of hit us out of nowhere because we, literally a couple of days before didn't even feel it. Then literally as soon as the PM shut the gyms for 6 months, I think that's when things got. I think because a lot of our clients are mid to late 20s to early 40s, pretty fitness-based people. I think for them it was probably a big shock for them, and so I think people sort of reacted accordingly. So I guess in terms of, so we probably dipped a bit for a couple of weeks, and other colleagues, surprisingly, I spoke with a few of them, and they dipped up to 50% in under 2 weeks, which is just, and these are like established good, well-run, really good established practices, and that and dropping 50% in 2 weeks, which is crazy. But at least with myself, I mean, it was a big slap in the face thinking, you know, you see these people have got gyms and that, and they're like, they can't operate for probably 6 months. And I think the lessons, I mean, there's lessons galore here, but in terms of, you know, pivoting, I mean, I think, yeah, well, obviously we're allowed to still practice, and even if we weren't, I mean, I've got that mindset. I mean, trying to develop, you know, more the online platform and try and build an online community, which I've been doing the last week for my client base as well, which is something I've always been meaning to do, but yeah, it's not until you have a global pandemic that you actually end up doing it. So basically that's in terms of business standpoint, that's just to build, you know, I'm not pivoting in terms of doing online consultations or telehealth like that, like a lot of other health practitioners are. That means, I mean, we could do, but ours is heavily hands-on based, but definitely still providing, I mean, doing a lot of videos with yourself. And I'm lucky I've got so much content that I've done from the last, you know, 12 to 18 months. It's put me in great stead for now, as opposed to panicking now and thinking, holy shit, I've got no online presence or anything. We've got a pretty strong online presence and system of videos, so we can sort of put them together, build a good community, which is great, which is going to be great for my clients and good for me, and I can start work towards building my own personal brand, which is a spin-off of this chiropractic practice. But that's something I've been wanting to do for, you know, 18 months. It's amazing how you just focus on, which I think there's elements which are good to focus on the one thing, but it's not till you focus on the one thing that gets knocked around a bit, and you think, holy shit, what would I do if, you know, you couldn't treat people, and you think you're sort of snookered. So yeah, definitely pivoting in terms of, we're still like to practice like that, but pivoting in terms of building online community, but also developing my own brand, and that's going to take some time. But I look at this as an absolute positive for me, because things, yeah, in my practice are back on to almost, you know, within a week or two, be back to where they were. So we only had, and everything's back on track. And yeah, and it's given me a kick in the ass to develop, you know, some online material for myself and you know, and give more value for my own clients. So it's actually been a blessing for me rather than and an opportunity rather than the other way around. And I think a lot of people, they can, you know, some people, I think they're just unfortunate in industries where, you know, there's nothing, it's hard. I mean, if you're in travel or, you know,
events,
it's hard. It's hard. Like, I've got a lot of empathy for those people. I mean, I'm fairly creative. There's some creative people out there, but yeah, I mean, they just have the doors shut, bang, and you know, and they're probably going to get shut for 12 months, sort of thing, which is yeah, devastating to a lot of those people involved in that. And you obviously know that as well, being involved with, you know, a lot of people do run events, and that just, you know, pretty much happened overnight as well. But I mean, a lot of other industries, and particularly health at the moment, mine and fitness as well. We're seeing a lot of health and fitness have in general taken a hit, but you know, you see the ones who are pivoting and they're going online, and the ones who are going online providing a lot more value, actually not just doing generic shit, and actually doing, you know, providing really good value in terms of content. And you know, some gyms are lending out, you know, their equipment and actually doing really good programming and individualized, and yeah, they're still like, they're taking that on board. And some of these gyms, they're like maintaining almost their revenues almost not even getting hit, and they're, yeah, and which I think, because they're learning to pivot is one aspect, but the other aspect is they've built such good community as well, and that's where like some of these CrossFit gyms and things like that, I mean, the ones who have built great community and they're pivoting and doing this, they're actually not getting hit anywhere near as hard as, you know, some other gyms that just would be going from 100% down to 10%. So yeah, I think it's just that ability to sort of see where you can pivot, where you can create value, and you know, make yourself different and more valuable. And yeah, there's like in the health industry or fitness, there's heaps of opportunities for that.
It's great, man. Really, really good advice. That was solid. Take a quick drink break as well.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Yeah, we've had a long time to think about it.
Good, man. I'm glad that you
What about you guys? How do you feel like, and you obviously, you're in filming, and you've done you've done a range of work with heap of people from, you've done corporate to, people like me, to weddings, to clubs. How do you find it sort of impacted you? Or you and people in your space, and how have you pivoted?
Yeah, for me personally, the event space is completely shut down. So I'm usually a club photographer at Butterfly on the weekends, and that's like all bars, all clubs have officially shut down. So that has been put on the back burner for not too sure how long. But with my stuff, like the weddings as well, exactly the same, because of the whole restrictions around how many people we're allowed to have. Corporate is a funny one because some businesses like yourself, they see this as an opportunity, and they're like, wow, this is the actual time to actually provide value online with content and storytelling, that sort of thing. And there's others which are a little bit hesitant because they have a lot more overheads, and they're kind of like holding on to their money just to kind of like ride it out. They're not too sure yet. But all those clients that are holding on to that money are just putting all these video gigs on pause, like on hold. So, I mean, it's not like a loss of income. It's just more so, let's just do it once everything's settled down. But right now, for me personally, because of a lot of my paid gig has been almost like wiped out, I'm working really hard on, brand awareness, creating value, storytelling, and also connecting with other business owners through this sort of platform, telling their story and like their mindset and like breaking down their methods to how to cope with this sort of situation. And that provides a lot of value for people watching. So that's the kind of direction I'm taking at the moment. Also just like releasing my own personal content, which is just like a bit of entertainment, just like a bit of memes and just a bit of fun. Yeah, exactly. TikTok, trying to smash TikTok right now. Yeah. So that's it at the moment. And also just like upskilling, understanding, different parts to different things, like whether that like not be specifically business, but also just learning about other things, like putting my focus and attention on like cooking, for example. And that as a form of meditation as well, which is really, really good. I'm just really taking this time just to kind of like focus on myself and like what makes me happy and doing that and just like giving it a shot, not really like putting a expectation on like I have to achieve this or like I have to do this by the time this is all done. It's mostly just like feeling it and going with the flow.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's awesome. It's awesome that you're focusing, because I mean, as we know, like something that brand takes a long time to build. It doesn't, building a brand and marketing, selling is different sort of things as well. I think a lot of people go for that. And that's when I pivoted from probably about a year and a half ago from, like a lot of what generic health practitioners they might do, offers and things like that. Or it's very short-term thinking. I remember I was listening to Gary Vee, over the time. I didn't know we both listened to a bit of him. But one of his things with branding is just, instead of selling, it's just something you're building it over time and time and time and time. And then, I mean, you're not doing with branding, you might not do offers and that sort of stuff, but just providing value, and not focusing on selling anything. And people organically will come in, and the people who do organically come in are better. I mean, you might get 5 people come in over a period of time as opposed to 20 from an offer, but those 5 are going to be a lot more qualified and to what you're offering. And it's one of those things that at this point in time, I understand like where a lot of businesses, a lot of people are like pulling back marketing, pulling back spending, whereas now is like the time to do the opposite. I feel it's like, okay, everyone's at home, like as in advertising spend, you're getting better value for it because less people on Facebook or whatever medium you use is cheaper than what it was 2 months ago, and you got a shitload more people watching. So it's like it's cheaper and more people watching. And now's the time. If you've got a message or a story to tell, like now's the time. Whereas ironically, everyone's just pulling back. Which and most things in life are almost counterintuitive, like that sort of thing as well. And that's where you get a lot of success. You know, same thing with as you're in the stock market, when that sort of plummets, everyone's freaking out. So, you know, it's one of the people that make money when they come in. So like it's and that's how I'll be looking at it. I mean, we're not going to look at it and go, you know, like everyone will be freaking out and a lot of people will be cutting their spend. We'll be going, no, this is a great time to keep up content, keep up, you know, storytelling, and keep branding up and just keep it consistent all the way through, because we're looking at like a long-term goal, and not like, you know, the work we do with you, for example. That's not like, you know, it's not a matter of just a couple of ads and, yeah, that's how you build a brand. It's like building a brand takes, you know, I only feel like we've got like really good momentum. Probably took us about, you know, 12 to 18 months to actually start to like really get our client and our demographic down pat and that sort of thing. And yeah, it takes time. It takes time to figure out, you know, what message resonates with them, what doesn't, and you've got to keep producing content. And I mean, you don't. I mean, I find better quality content like through yourself, and that's obviously for me is better. We've got the, you know, funding to be able to do it, but I mean, even people doing their own, you know, filming that, even though it might not be as professional to start with, that's a good way of starting when they can actually fund having someone professionally do it. I mean, just doing it and having that as a consistent, you know, plan that they do sort of moving forward.
Perfect, man. Perfect advice. That's why I try and push the fact that like,
long-winded.
What's up?
Very long-winded advice.
Yeah, no, it's good though. It's really, really good. Like it's definitely, especially from someone that's keeping up their spend on content creation and, you know, branding, you know, through these times when no one's spending, like you're just going to like take off and all the attention is going to be on your brand and what you do. So once this all kind of like settles down, everyone's going to be like, yeah, he's the guy to go to, kind of thing. So that's great, man.
I agree. Yeah, I think the businesses that prepare themselves now and do the work and don't just sit back and just hope and just cost cut, and yeah, the ones who put that time in for the next particular 6 to 12 months, they're the ones that when the dust, even though the world probably won't ever be the same again, but when the virus sort of stuff starts to clear in 6 to 12 months, they'll be the ones ready to take off and hit the ground running.
Definitely, man. Definitely. In regards to any other tips that you could give to someone in isolation, coming from a health practitioner's point of view, what advice could you give?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely a lot of things we could do. Look, I think you can start by developing habits and routines. I think, you know, definitely getting in the mindset that this is a new normal, and not thinking, because I speak to a lot of people and everyone's got a different opinion on it, and a lot of people think this is like a 4 to 6 week or, you know, a couple month problem, and it's all like life's going to be normal again. So it's probably going to be 6 months, minimum 12 months. You know, we don't know until things sort. So definitely pivoting, going, okay, don't just you know, have everything go to shit and just wait until things sort themselves out and it all, you know, all clears up, because that's not a good tactic, because that's going to go down south pretty smart. So I think developing, like having that mindset, there's a new normal, and then developing routines around that. You know, still, you know, regular, like same getting up time, same bedtime. That's basic. Same morning routine, whatever you do. I mean, I do things that, you know, whether it's like, you know, still doing, people might do, depends on like your gym setup, or you might do body weight exercises, or, you know, mindfulness practice, or, you know, things like cold showers or reading or whatever it is. I think, you know, whatever your routine is, you have to do all that stuff. You can pick and choose what you want, but still having a routine like that, still getting at least, you know, 30 minutes exercise per day, and being mindful, you know, of things with your, you know, with your eating patterns and things like that. Because often, like I did as well, thought we're going to go into like a 4-week lockdown, and you put food and shit in your house that you normally wouldn't. You wouldn't, and just almost, I mean, we're not going to go in Perth anyway. We're not going to go into full. I don't think we're going to go into full lockdown. So, you know, still keeping decent eating habits. I think social interaction is still important. I mean, we still can, you know, catch up with one person, or, you know, call people instead of texting people, go on Zoom calls. It's very important to still maintain for your own mental health, social isolation is probably going to be one of the worst things that comes out of this. Definitely correct sleep routine, getting, at least that 7 hours per night and focusing on that. I mean, that's one of the things that people I think really can, moving forward, if they're working from home and this sort of stuff. I mean, you can actually, that's probably one of the easiest things you can control, like a good, similar sleeping routine. And just focusing on, mentally focusing on a lot of the positives that are going to come out of this. And if you're, someone's a bit lost, or, use it as a time to, I mean, someone might need it as a time to decompress a bit, but we probably don't need 6 months to decompress. I mean, decompress a bit and then start, upskilling if you need to upskill to pivot and move somewhere else, start that process. But yeah, definitely, I think some foundational things, just, still keep exercising, be mindful of, like, passing out on the couches and being in those adverse postural positions for too long, which you will, and like poor work setups. And at least if you still have a good workstation, good sleep routine, exercise, these sort of things, and they're simple as anything, but like keeping them, it's almost just keeping that routine and doing it consistently. I think that's the end. And social engagement and that sort of stuff. That's the best way, I think, moving forward, that we can, not drop off too hard.
That's great, man. I think like just keeping that very simple as well, not overcomplicating it, not adding too many things or just changing things completely drastically, just kind of keeping it as simple as people can and just maintaining that over this period of time. Also, I think this is a really good time as well to have a reset for everyone and just think about how to kind of like create these habits, right? Create these routines. Now they have a lot more time on their hands to kind of do this. So yeah, it's good to hear that from a health practitioner.
Yeah, man, and definitely the thing that I've been saying, like in terms of with all of my clients in the last like couple of weeks, particularly since all this has been happening, is it's an opportunity for us to reassess our health. I mean, some people have got pretty good health, a lot of other people don't, and a lot of other people without good health have just sort of let's keep ticking along, and until something like this comes by, and holy shit, I actually could pay for my mistakes. And health is an inside out approach, not outside in. It's not just, I mean, things like social distancing is great for this, but just sanitizing your hand and antibacterials and wiping down everything. I mean, they're all outside in approaches, not inside out. So, and the inside out approach takes time as well. I mean, that's from your eating to your managing stress to your fitness to your what you're having, supplementation wise, gut health, all these sort of things, and still maintaining focus on those things whilst doing the things that the government's telling us to do to minimize the spread of this disease. But like it is a great time to start to actually and you've got to take accountability for that. People have got to take accountability. Like the government's not going to sort out your health from the inside out. You've got to take, and that doesn't come from a pill either. So that's like people get to take ownership of that, and that's when, that's like my big thing with clients. Say this is a long-term problem. This isn't going to go away. I mean, and the people, generally speaking, who got better performing immune systems, have got a better chance. I mean, this thing can wipe anyone out, but like if your immune system is better and you're in better, in a healthier state and stronger, I mean, you're going to stand a much better chance than if you're compromised. And it's just, now's a great time to start those habits, moving forward.
It's great, man. I feel like it's important that you spread that message of health being an inside out approach rather than outside in. I know like media nowadays really pushes the fact that, I take this because this is like, your symptoms, blah, blah, and it's always like outside in. But I really appreciate that you push that message and you implement that in your practice and you preach it to your clients, which is really important. Yeah. Is there any advice that you give to anyone else in regards to ISO?
In regards to ISO,
like self-care.
From a healthcare perspective,
and like self-care, for example, how to kind of
stuff like, I think it's still important in terms of like stretching, mobility, that sort of base sort of stuff. I think it's definitely good to still have a regular movement practice and use stuff like trigger point balls and foam rolling in conjunction with the exercises, just to keep the movement sort of aspect of your body, which means heaps of. We've put out some resources on our Instagram on the Gorilla page, and there's other resources as well, which are pretty handy. So yeah, I mean, there's stuff like you do obviously band work and all sorts of things, which I mean you'd be all over as well. I mean, calisthenics and all the mobility work that you do. Yeah, so I mean that stuff integrated with the stress and lifestyle sort of stuff. Breathing exercises, all that sort of stuff as well. I mean that's breathing exercise is one of probably the best ways of mitigating the physiological effects of stress as well. And now that you've got time when you're at home, you can sort of start to concentrate a lot on doing stuff like box breathing and nasal breathing and these hot cold therapies, particularly cold therapies, this sort of stuff as well. I mean, which has been shown to help mitigate the effects of stress as well.
Awesome, man. And if people want to kind of find out some more information about yourself or what you do, where can they find that?
Yep, you can look on our Facebook page on Gorilla Chiro, or my page Dr Ryan Gleeson on Facebook on the fan page, or on Instagram at Gorilla Chiro or at Dr.Ryan Gleeson on Instagram. And we'll just keep on putting out content and advice on strategies, no bullshit strategies for stress reduction, stress management, mindset, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, definitely over the next 6 months we'll start building my own personal sort of brand content as well as the Gorilla content. And we've got some cool things that will be in the works over the next probably 3 to 6 months.
Exciting times, man. Okay, so I want to give you the opportunity to ask one question to the viewers here. If you could ask one question about anything, what would it be?
The thing I've probably always struggled the most with is work-life balance. So I'm getting better understanding for it, but still, my thing would be how would we balance? The biggest things for me, my value system is definitely my business career, my health and fitness, and then if you're starting to look at relationships, family. So how would you find that right? And I know the thing is there is no real formula for it. That's why it's so difficult, and it changes. It's constantly dynamic as well throughout your life. But how to know how much of what each component of our life should we be committing to. I think that's which is a very individualistic thing, and that's why it's so tricky. A lot of people will battle with it, but that's the thing that if you go all in 100% into your business, then it's going to take you from somewhere else. So I think how do we know if we're on the right path in terms of how much we're putting into each aspect of our life?
That's a good question.
That'd probably be my number one. Yeah, so the work-life balance.
Cool. Well, if anyone wants to provide their opinion or answer that question, feel free to answer it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, man. Pleasure. I'll get you onto my podcast pretty soon, and we'll switch it over.
Sure, man. Sounds good. Awesome.
Good.
Thanks for that.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Cool. Cheers, buddy. Thanks.